back again for another deep dive. And you know we love digging into what's going on in Spain. Today we've got 3 RTVE articles. They really highlight how politics, law, and the economy all kind of intertwine over there.
Yeah, it's like you can't really separate them, can you? These stories we're going to look at, they give you a real sense of what's shaping Spain right now. Ready to jump in?
Absolutely. Let's start with this one. It's like a headline straight out of a political thriller. Anticorruption pide rechazar la querella del PP contra el PSOE por financiación irregular. Which, if my Spanish is still good, translates to Anti-Corruption calls for dismissal of PP's lawsuit against PSOE for irregular financing.
You got it. And right off the bat, you know it's juicy. Just in case some of our listeners are new to Spanish politics, PP is the People's Party. They're in the opposition right now. PSOE, that's the Socialist Workers Party, the ones currently running the show.
And it sounds like there's no love lost between them going straight for a lawsuit like that.
Oh, it gets even juicier. So the PP is claiming the PSOE got their hands dirty with some shady financing. We're talking an anonymous tip alleging cash deliveries from a businessman who, get this, was hoping to snag a hydrocarbons license. You know, the kind that lets you drill for oil and gas.
Hold on. So are we talking about a quid pro quo situation here?
Duh.
Favors for cash?
That's exactly what the PP wants us to believe. And let's be real, accusations like these, if they stick, could really damage the PSOE. Public trust is a fragile thing, right? But there's a twist.
Okay, now you've got me on the edge of my seat. Hit me with the twist.
The Anticorruption Prosecutor's Office, they're the ones who are supposed to be impartial. They've taken a look at this whole thing. And guess what? They're saying, nah, threw the lawsuit out.
Wow, so they're basically saying the PP doesn't have a leg to stand on.
It definitely makes you wonder, doesn't it? Either the PP's case is full of holes, or maybe, just maybe, this is a political power play to make the PSOE look bad. We're all just trying to read between the lines here.
Yeah, it's always a bit of a head-scratcher trying to figure out what's really going on behind the scenes. But speaking of things that make you scratch your head, let's move on to something a little less political, a little more about the economy. We've got this article about the European Central Bank, and I'm already feeling a yawn coming on.
I get it. Economics aren't exactly known for their thriller-like qualities, but trust me on this one. The ECB, they just made a big move that's going to have a ripple effect throughout Spain. El BCE recorta en 0,25 puntos los tipos de interés hasta el 3.25%. That's ECB cuts interest rates by 0,25%, points to 3.25% in English. This is actually the second time they've done this year, and it's a pretty clear signal.
Okay, so you're saying this interest rate thing, it's a big deal,
Yeah.
but I'll be honest, I'm not exactly a whiz when it comes to finance.
Yeah.
Could you break it down for those of us who don't speak fluent economy? Why should we in our audience care about what the ECB is doing?
Sure, so think of interest rates like this. They're basically the price tag on borrowing money. When the ECB, which controls the money flow for the entire Eurozone, decides to lower these rates, it becomes cheaper for banks to borrow, right? And then they pass those savings on to businesses and regular folks like you and me.
Ah, so it's like a domino effect, hoping to get things moving, get people spending.
Exactly. See, the Eurozone, they've been stuck in a bit of a rut. Growth has been slow. And even Germany, which is usually the economic star, they're on the verge of a recession. Can you believe it? So this interest rate cut, it's like a shot of espresso for the economy, hopefully giving it enough of a jolt to avoid a major downturn.
And how does this all play out for Spain specifically? They're part of the Eurozone, so I imagine they're pretty plugged into whatever's happening over there.
You hit the nail on the head. Spain's economy, it's been doing all right, better than some in the Eurozone, but they're not an island. Whatever happens in the Eurozone as a whole, good or bad, it's going to wash up on their shores eventually.
So there's a bit of a gamble here, isn't there? Trying to boost the whole Eurozone to help Spain in the process. But there might be some downsides too.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Lower interest rates, they can be a real boon for anyone looking to buy a house or for businesses wanting to expand because, hey, loans are cheaper. But on the flip side, for people who are trying to save money, it means their money might not grow as fast because interest rates are lower. It's a balancing act, that's for sure.
All right, buckle up, because this last headline is a wild one. Sánchez apoya al fiscal general por perseguir al delincuente y combatir un bulo, which basically means Sánchez supports Attorney General for prosecuting the criminal and combating a hoax.
Sounds like we're about to step into a political drama, right?
You could say that. This one's got it all.
Wow.
Trust, power plays, maybe even some good old-fashioned corruption, Spanish politics, never a dull moment.
Lay it on me. What's the lowdown? Who's accusing who? And what's at stake? So, it all centers around Prime Minister Sánchez. He's in hot water right now, facing some serious heat, calls for him to be held accountable for what his attorney general is accused of doing.
Okay, so we've got the Prime Minister and his Attorney General. Who's pointing fingers?
Well, the opposition, obviously. And they're not holding back. They're saying this attorney general, he spills some confidential info during a legal case. And not just any case. We're talking about a case involving the partner of Madrid's president.
Oh boy, now that's how you make headlines. What kind of confidential information are we talking about?
It's all a bit hush-hush still. Details are still coming out, but apparently it involves some emails, sensitive ones, dealing with a plea deal that was being hammered out. The Attorney General's office and the defense, they were trying to make a deal in this case against the Madrid president's partner, a case that supposedly involves some shady tax stuff.
So we've got allegations of corruption, leaked info, and some very important people caught in the middle. I get the prosecuting the criminal bit from the headline, but what about combating a hoax? What's that all about?
That's where Prime Minister Sánchez comes in to defend his man. He's coming out swinging, denying everything, calling these accusations a total fabrication, a big fat lie cooked up to make his government look bad.
Classic case of he said, she said, right? Who do you believe? It seems like that's what it always boils down to.
It really does. But beyond this whole back and forth, it raises some big questions. Accountability, transparency in the Spanish government, that sort of thing. The opposition, they're not letting up. They want a full-blown investigation. They're saying this whole thing, it undermines people's faith in the justice system, you know?
Really makes you think. Even in a democracy, you got to keep earning that trust. Scandals like this, true or not, they do some damage.
No doubt about it. This whole thing, it's got the potential to be a real turning point for Sanchez's government. It's got all the elements of a political thriller.
It's been a wild ride through these RTVE articles today.
Sure.
Politics, the law, the economy, it's all connected. Thanks for walking us through it.
My pleasure. Always happy to dig into these stories. It really gives you a feel for what's going on in Spain, even if it's just a glimpse.
And to everyone listening, don't stop here. Keep asking questions, keep learning, keep exploring. There's a whole world of current events out there, and we'll be back soon to dive into more of them with you. Until then, stay curious.